Well, it's what you do when you're a tired supervisor who's 8 months and 1 week, being the black boy there. Is on a winter afternoon, you lie in Dad's shed and get a bit of sun through the glass door. But the smart one, that's a Tilda. She's on the mat. She's not silly. All right. Pretty much done. So I've just done the exhaust ports of the one of the heads of the head, and you can see it's come up. It's pretty close. In fact, it's really close. I'm happy with that. I'm going to call that. This is the first head I did with the inlet, and again, pretty close. I probably could take a bit more meat there, and I may do yet. I've got to do the exhaust in this one, but I'm not too unhappy. This one I think was pretty much bang on. I've only just done this one, but I'm pretty happy. The idea of all the advice I've seen is just to smooth the flow. So there's quite a bit of a lump on the exhaust port here as it exits, and also you've got that sharp corner there. But on from the exhaust valve going up. But I didn't want to cut into a water jacket. Better to have a head that's not perfect than one that is buggered, eh? So I've just smoothed it out and done our best. I reckon most of the power comes from the efficiency, I beg your pardon, comes from the inlet side anyway, but port matching the exhaust is a good thing to do. Now, notably on the roof side of this TV head, when I put the gasket on, put every bolt in so it was nice and central, the top half lines up anyway. There was nothing to do virtually, just literally nothing to do. So it was all on the side and on the bottom, where the inlet was exactly opposite. And they do say that most of the power again comes from the roof side, not the floor side of the head on the inlet. So anyway, that's just what I've seen, read, blah blah blah. So we call that one a day. Very messy job, really messy job. So keep a vacuum going, I suppose. This old rag's just been great because it has absorbed a lot of the mess. Tips from me, from what I've picked up in doing this job, is that these straight ones, frankly, I found better control. These ones with an angle, and that's a Sutton, that's a good one. I can't remember what brand this was. It was a Japanese brand, but it wasn't Chinese. It was half diesel. I think the kit cost me $180. They weren't cheap. But these straight ones clearly have better control. I think I paid $55 for that from Gas World. That's an American-made one, that one. I only just bought that one. I actually cut it down so it was just too long. But for me, they still bite, and you'll still have slips. And I have had a couple of slips, as you can see, but no big deal. It'll be right. But these ones here just chatter and carry on. I haven't had much success with that taper type one, as opposed to a straight with just a flute on the end. Excuse me. Probably just my incompetence. Let's go with that. Now, apparently this should be the one we're going to use to do the inlet manifold, because the inlet manifold is aluminium and you want a single cut. You do not want to use these style because they'll block up. There's plenty of other people who've talked about the net, so I'm not going to go any further with that. And I think I filmed this before, I cannot remember. So I pick this job up and drop it, and then I'll pick it back up and drop it. But the point of it is, gee, the inlet manifold's going to have some severe cutting done to it. It's got a long way to go. Just look at the amount of meat that's going to come out of this thing. So hopefully I don't bugger it, but it does feel like there's lots of thickness in here. There's no water jackets in this inlet manifold, so I'm not worried about that. So we'll get into that once I finish these heads. I'll take them out the back and pressure blast them, degrease them. You should do that first. You should do that first because it should be perfectly clean as heads to start. I haven't done it the right way. doesn't really matter. The way I sort of mitigated it was I wiped it out with terps, the ports, and then using these first, then you got clean metal to go on to anyway. So 6 1 half dozen the other, I suppose. Pretty happy. I think I might have escaped dodge, but I spoke to my engine builder yesterday actually. So it's only this valve seat here, and it's not even that bad. You can see it's got a good line. I just bought some valve lap paste, and tomorrow I'll lap all these valves in, and we will just make sure I've got a clean face. If not, we'll get them reground. Now they're brand new valves, and they're brand new valve seats, so you know they can take a small cut without any damage at all. Like I said, they're brand new valves anyway, so, or they've never been cut before. They've done 10,000 k, so I'm calling them new. Valve guides, of course, are the same age, so there's nothing more to be done there. So this head can go out the back and be degreased and pressure washed. And then I've bought some stuff from Liquid Intelligence. I've seen their ad. This is their gear there, from Peter. And I'm going to make up 20 litres of solvent with this, and that's what I bought that for. To dip the heads in. Now the reason I've gone this road is because I don't want to damage the bronze guides on the exhaust side. See, I don't know if you can see that, but they are actually bronze. So that stuff apparently is non-caustic and will clean the heads up and get all the jackets nice and clean, get all the crap out of the jackets and the corrosion inside there, because you want that done without damaging my guides, is the theory. I'm hoping it's right, so I'll do that tomorrow as well. Alright, did I miss anything, puppies? I don't think so, I think we're right. What about you, Tully, we're okay? All good, alright. Did forget to mention what I'm doing, reference how I'm marking it. Yeah, I've seen paint and blue dye and bearing blue, whatever you want to call it. I think it's the correct name. Scribers. I'm using this. An engraver. Simple as that. I found the scriber just didn't give me enough depth to see. So you run this thing through a few times, and as you can see, like I said before, there's nothing at the top, just nothing. It's all the meat is at the bottom, and that's fairly consistent as these heads are. So like I said before, they're really rough cast. So so that one goes all the way up to there, but this one here, not so. But yeah, all the meat on the exhaust was on the bottom, and overwhelmingly on the inlet side. The gasket had more meat on the roof to take off. Anyway, just thought I'd show you that. Oh yeah, that super cheap auto, cheapest chips, I can't remember what I paid, it wasn't a lot of money. I bought it to engrave all my work tools. Righto, first day of spring, what a cracking day. Anyway, last night I degreased these things and put them into, oh goodness, they're heavy. Put them into the Liquid Intelligence solution. So it's a 3-part mixture. Run it for a couple of hours, and it was, you could see it was doing the job, but it hadn't got it enough, and it says you can leave for over 12 hours. I didn't want to hassle Peter and ring him up again, so I just left it overnight. I'll have a look at the guides, make sure that they're still nice and tight on the valve shortly, but you probably can't see, but I can see in there she's pretty cast clean. It's not too bad. You can probably just pick it up on the footage. So it's going bronze like Aladdin. It's on an aeroplane skin, but anyway, I'll probably buff that off. I'll get these dry and hit it with WD-40, get all the moisture out of it. Before I do anything else, just let them dry out here in the sun for a bit. It was still -3, I think, this morning. It was cold. But they look great now. they look great. Obviously, they've got to be degreased before they go into the solution, and really I should have degreased them before I started doing all the work on it. But anyway, is what it is. Really happy the way these things have come up. You know, I don't know if you can see that there, but I'm really happy the way those chambers now look. They're nice and smooth, and you know, I'm hoping that this thing runs quite well. I've ordered a new camshaft. I sent that other Chinese piece back. I was just looking at photos this morning actually just to remind myself. You know, the first lobe actually was 5mm out of place, and then difference between the first and second lobe was that same 5mm difference from the Crow cam. So it's just junk, really was. Chinese made thing. So still having negotiations with the particular company that supplied me that to get a refund on the camshaft, and surprise, surprise. So the Howard lifters, I could have done better. You know what? eBay is not necessarily the best place to buy. You just need to keep shopping around. The guy that's doing all the machine work on my engine, he's in Wagga actually. You know, I end up buying the stuff through him as cheap as I can get it anywhere else, and he's just a little engine builder, you know. So lessons learnt. So we're getting a Crow cam that'll peak to about 5800 RPM, which is about where I wanted it. Didn't want anything stupid. This, like I said, it's not a race car, but hopefully my aim with these heads was to try and get, you know, just better flow and hopefully good bottom end torque, particularly with the cam that we're now putting in it, and we'll just see. So I didn't throw them out nutter. I just tried to keep them even all the way and just make sure that tunnel's just nice and smooth, and obviously port matched to the gasket. So now I've got to port match the inlet manifold, like I've said a million times before. Now, all right, that's one side pretty much done. Look, I could still improve a little bit there, a little bit there. I don't know how much gain it actually get. I'll probably do that. It won't take long to cut that down, compared to what my stand. Look at the mess this stuff makes. Holy. So it's pretty much lined up, and look at the difference. That's how much meat I've taken off this thing. So I reckon there'll be quite significant improvement in flow coming from that, lining up a lot better. And what I've noticed is that you end up taking, there's quite a large corner here when you're looking at that in a straight line, and you're taking, well, I'm taking a lot of meat out of that corner and removing the lip here. So again, according to, you know, Eastwood and other companies that do how-tos on YouTube on this, that's the whole idea, is to smooth the airflow out. Now, interesting, this obviously, these single ones which they say to use, correct, but I've tried it on both my right angle ones, can't control it, just cannot control it. For some reason, this one, perfect. It's more easy to use a right angle one, but when you're using this thing, just me, could not control it with the right angles. So what I'm doing is, you know, using that to chop out most of the meat, almost to the bone. Almost to the bone. Hang on to it, because let me tell you, she bites a bit in one hit, as you can see by the swarf left behind. And then just the normal 80 grits, I think these are, from Eastwood. And then just my Dotco, I call it Dotco or Romec, whatever you want to call the things. Scotch pad, let's do that. Just to take the edge off. Just take the edge off. So I'll just line that gasket back up again, do a little bit more just to make it Mickey Mouse, and then that'll be it for inlet manifold. And then I'll pull the heads in, and let's see how that valve turned out. Righto, manifold complete, just got the heads back inside, just having a look in there. Look, it is a lot better, no doubt, but it, to be frank, hasn't really got rid of all of it. So whether I've got the right product or not, I don't know. or is it just not possible to completely and utterly get it back to cast clean? But I can tell you now, I can see why I will be fitting a filter to my radiator before we run this engine. I can absolutely assure you that's a must. It's still got stuff in it. It's a lot better without doubt. Just pull a lot of the crap out of it, and that's soaked overnight, so it's had I think 16, 17 hours at least, so that's probably enough. Look, a whole lot better than what it was, and good enough that we'll be able to use it. But yeah, anyway, where are we at? So this was the port, and you can still see the marks there, so don't worry about that browning colour. That's just from the treatment, I think. As you can see, it scrubs off real easy. So, and I just burred that seat with the one of the Romac, one of the pads for the cylinder head porting. So I already had a quick go at it with some really crappy paste. The valve itself looks really good. I mean, really good. So I've just got some new valve lapping paste. I noted that this is Permatex. It's 1, so it goes there. It says there it's got 220, 180, 150, 120 grit all in one. So that's interesting. It's product development, I suppose. So what we'll do is got the oil can here, put some oil on the valve, some paste on the seat, and I'll do it the naughty way using a slow battery drill. So we'll get on to that. I can't film and do, so I'll just I'll do it and we'll see how it comes up. Don't know if it's filming or not because I've just lost my screen, but I'll give it a go. So drill, low speed, applying a bit of pressure, opposite way. Opposite way. One more. Hear the tone change. Alright, see how that looks. Alright, I think we'll be right. Just try and get the light not to reflect on it, but the little markings from the grit of the paper are virtually gone. You can see that's developed a nice clean line. The valve is really good actually. That's what you're looking for, is a clean line all the way around your valve. I've seen a lot worse, and still, you know, that's actually pretty bloody good. To be honest with you, I'm not really seeing any problem. I don't see the point in going and getting these recut. Better to not than do, if you will, because then you've got more meat to play with in the future. But like I said, these seats were new. They've done 10,000 K. They're real, and LPG as well. So I think we're going to be fine here. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and give them all a bit of a cut. They're all in order, like I said. So number 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that's how they're lined up on the beer carton. The beer carton. And just before I'm going to do each valve, I'm just going to clean them with. I've cleaned that one with Scotch-Brite and a bit of terps in a bowl over there. And of course, engine oil. Put that in Japan. Bizarre, but anyway. Had it for years. Finally found a use for it. So a bit of engine oil on that. Make sure there's plenty of oil on your shaft. And also, I've cleaned out the guide before I with some WD-40 and blow it out, get as clean as you can before you introduce the valve stem back to it. The other thing just to report is that that valve there is just as tight as in that guide. There's nothing. Absolutely spot on. We've got zero problems here, so excellent. Anyway, I'll get on, I'll give that one more cut, then do the rest. All good. I'm hoping this is filming, I'm not sure, but anyway. Big news, it's back. So this is how I get it out and in the car by myself. Too heavy for me to lift, and I think you'd be nuts to do it. So easy done. This is fantastic, this thing, just to set the balance. It's just, I think I paid $50 for that. I got it off eBay somewhere. Just terrific. So I'll take it over to my little engine stand over there, and we'll bowl her up and start working on it in earnest this weekend. So lots and lots and lots to do. So I'll go through it all later. Some supervision we're getting. Looks just like roughy ups to me. The boys. Yeah, righto, mate. All right. As I said last night, I don't know if I'll use that footage. It didn't look good. Had a problem with the what is this thing called? GoPro. The blocker's back. In fact, the engine's back. Few things to discuss before I really get into it. I noted when I was taking it all apart, I'm not overly satisfied with my little engine stand here. Look, it's supposed to be load rated to 450, I think, from memory. It's just a super cheap jobby. What's it say here? No, 560. Well and truly enough. And look, it is. It is. But the way the thing mounts, you know, the engine's a fair way, well, I'd call that centre of gravity around about here, when I think it should be back here for a start. So there's too much weight hanging out, and as you build the engine up, it only exacerbates the problem, really. That said, it didn't fall over or anything like that, but it's pretty wonky old bloody thing. And the thing I don't like most, excuse me, Thor, is just how wobbly the whole centrepiece is. So before we go any further and I start adding, you know, another 150, 200 kilos this thing by the time I put the crank and the rods and the pistons and the heads and everything else back on the donk, I'm going to cut a couple of angle irons and just strengthen this thing up so this box section's stronger. Now, yeah, I won't be able to pull it apart anymore, but I'm not bothered by that, because when I store the thing, I store it bolted together here and here anyway, so 6 one half dozen the other. I only take the legs out to store it, so it'll still be a flat piece. I just want to get rid of that. I'm not a big fan, because the stays themselves, and you can see that, they're bending. So before we go any further, we'll solve that issue. Just got some good some metal in the shed here. I'll cut some up and do that. Now, what else we got going on? The heads are in here. Many thanks to Isaac at Gem Engines in Wagga. Spent a significant amount of time with me having a look at these valves, particularly this valve here. It's really good, but where it sits in the head, I'll show you a bit later, there's a little chip, and not done by yours truly, it's just the way it was, right at the bottom of the seat face. But we've both decided that, you know what, that's okay, because the seat face is doing what it's supposed to do. It's not worth doing anything about it. So these are the valve springs out of one of the heads. Now these are Crow valve springs. I can't find the paperwork right now. Can't remember what the part number were, but they're just a basic, the sort of the bottom of the range of Crow's products with a dampener. And they're designed for a standard to mild cam. When we put them into the spring load tester, and then what was done there, where Isaac tested properly the resting height of the valve. So I might be able to show that later, but that's from the valve guide, where it sits around about there to where the collets sit, and it's called the resting height of the spring. There should be a certain load provided by the valve spring at that point, and then of course you load it up to the depth as the cam would compress the valve, and in this case we're going 540 thou, and you're looking for binding, and binding is when the springs have got too close and they're caught up on each other. So we could have shimmed these, and we actually tested these shimmed, and look, they were okay, but they're okay. And for 110 bucks, American made springs that just met the specifications. So just stiffer, you know, bit, I don't know if they're thicker metal or not, but just that they're rated different, they're a little bit higher, and they met specification of you know, tension at the resting, tension at the compressed height, and without shimming the spring, because when you shim the spring, your chances of binding are higher because you're pre-compressing the spring before the cam compresses the spring. So 110 bucks, he made an executive decision, rang me up, said, yeah, that's all good, mate, let's do that. Good. So new valve spring. So I gave the cam to my painter, because he's building a 351, just a basic one, and the cam that came out was a good Crow cam, good springs. So and the timing chain, because it was a JP and it was in really good nick. So he wants to do a very cheap build, well, that'll help him out. Another JP timing chain, I think it's the same one as I just gave away, but that's a 9 keyway, that one. But I won't be dialing the cam in. Crow assure me that's not required. The cam is on its way here. So what have we got here? I think they're conrod bearings. No, crank bearings, I'm not sure yet. I'll open them up. But piston rings, that'll be conrod bearings, good old ACL. I think they're still made in Australia. I think they sort of came back into being. Yeah, they are. There you go, Australian made. Tasmania. But I don't think they're doing it in bulk like they used to. So they're the main bearings, rod bearings, rings, timing chain, gasket set, water pump, valve springs, seal power pistons, and pistons all prepared, fitted to the conrods. Number 8, obviously number 1's at the other end, so that's that. Crankshaft, that was all lineage down. Heads, so block. So we can start doing some stuff now. So what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to reseat the valves again, just to be absolutely sure, clean them up, and I'm going to assemble the heads. That's the first task with the motor, but the first task is fix up the equipment so we don't get caught a bit later. I'm just concerned about that. You know, I can't complain. I got the package. I can't remember what it was. It was well under 300 bucks for the pair. There was a sale on 5 years ago, and I knew I'm going to do this job eventually, so I went ahead and bought it. So anyway, you wouldn't know it's spring, it's freezing outside. I can't get my crane cast in my shed to work. But that's not really important at the moment. Are you lot right? I think they are. All right, on. All right, that's that little problem solved by the looks of it. Even when I put the clamps on just to clamp that metal into place, it seemed to be a lot stiffer. So as you can see, it's just, there's no movement other than the whole thing shaking around. So just a couple of bits of angle. As my dear old dad would say, don't throw anything out. So I didn't. That's a bit of the frame that the hoist came in actually. I thought, oh, you beauty, good scrap metal that is. So again, just cut a bit of a length off that, and yeah, that's done the job. I'm not going to grind it. I don't want to get any more contamination than already is going to get into this engine, because I put WD-40 down the bores yesterday. But I'm going to have to give this a really thorough clean before I assemble. Just because of dust, there's just nothing you can do about it, really. Is what it is. So, but I don't want to get spot corrosion on all the machine surfaces. So I'd rather face a little bit of contamination that I can clean off later, just before I bolt it all together, than rust. So that's that. Now we can start to proceed.